Fred Richani, TSC, with some major breaking news. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. We cover pro wrestling from top to bottom, conduct interviews, and everything in between. I am live here. If you're watching the live stream, I appreciate it because I had to go live to talk about this. According to ProWrestlingSheet.com's Ryan Satin, Roman Reigns, the WrestleMania 36 headliner, the man that is challenging Bill Goldberg for the Universal Championship of the SmackDown brand, is officially out of WrestleMania. Well, I guess unofficially as we speak right now, but most likely, definitely out according to this report. Pro Wrestling Sheet has learned Roman Reigns will not be part of the WWE Universal Championship match at WrestleMania 36 as planned. Sources with knowledge of the situation tell us Reigns expressed to WWE that he didn't feel comfortable doing any more of the Performance Center shows due to the coronavirus pandemic because he's immunocompromised. He has an immune deficiency from his battle with leukemia and didn't want to risk his health. We're told WWE honored his request, and he will now be replaced by someone else in the match against Goldberg, although that is unclear who at this time. Wow. When your top star straight up says, yo, this is unsafe, you're putting me in danger, that is a pretty big deal. Now, the last time I talked to y'all about pro wrestling, we talked about how WWE was going to proceed with WrestleMania as a two-night event with Rob Gronkowski, the Gronk, hosting it. Now, if you've been living under a rock or maybe you've had more important things to worry about than pro wrestling, and quite frankly, everybody's got more important things to worry about than pro wrestling right now with everything going on. God bless y'all. I hope you're all staying safe. But here's what you may have missed. WrestleMania 36 is scheduled to be a two-night event. It's still proceeding at the moment in the WWE Performance Center. Now, reportedly, it has already been taped in front of an empty Performance Center. There were rumors that maybe they'd do multiple locations, things like that. There was a wacky rumor that they'd do Madison Square Garden, which is absolutely not the case, being somebody from the New York area, because unfortunately, New York and New Jersey, my home state, my second home of NYC, they're the epicenter right now. A lot of rumors flying rampant, but it was led to be believed, and I believe it's already happened, that they taped a majority of, if not all of WrestleMania at the Performance Center. If you've watched any of the WWE Empty Arena shows, you might be thinking to yourself, man, these shows suck, and that's true. Now, granted, I admire the performers for plowing through because, one, I get it. They got to make a living, and they likely feel pressure to perform. And two, look, I'm sure they, along with everybody else, would rather be somewhere else, and I sincerely appreciate them putting on a show for us. That being said, the more that this outbreak has grown, the more that the cases have risen, particularly in the United States, particularly in my area, again, the New York, New Jersey area, the more I've gotten uncomfortable with AEW running shows and with WWE running shows. And I read a report before, I believe it was from PWIinsider.com, and it might be, and I could look it up too while I'm talking to you guys here, but I believe Daniel Bryan has to enter quarantine for 14 days. 14 days, at least 14 days, because one, I believe in the past he was immunocompromised, easy for me to say, as a kid, growing up. And two, Brie Bella, his wife, is currently pregnant, and she is at risk. Actually, yeah, you know what? Okay, so this was confirmed by the Bella twins. Daniel Bryan will be under quarantine for a bit since he was in Orlando for a whole week just to play things safe. Okay, so that is true. So Daniel Bryan has to be away from his pregnant wife for at least 2 weeks just for performing on a WWE show doing his freaking job, which is the right move health-wise, but the fact that he was even put in that position sucks. Now, Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer reported earlier this week that Rey Mysterio had to quarantine himself because he wasn't feeling well, and Dana Brooke is off WrestleMania, or got off the WrestleMania taping, because she was also sick. And I believe Marco Stunt in AEW was not feeling well as well. I don't believe he's diagnosed or anything. I think he was just not feeling well and taking the necessary precautions. All that being said, with all the information that we have right now, and John Marie on the live stream says they didn't finish already taping. Okay. Whatever the case may be, whether they finished recording everything or not, I don't know. The bottom line is, the more these cases grow, the more we see the statistics, the more we see the community spread, the more that pro wrestling, and especially MMA, sound like a pretty bad idea right now. So the question is, Who will WWE replace or Roman Reigns with against Bill Goldberg, or if they haven't already? I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't think it really matters at this point. As much as I would love a distraction from all the BS that's going on, and granted, we got video games and Netflix, and if you're lucky enough to have friends and family over, you can, close by, social distancing wise, you can keep yourself entertained. But look, we all go crazy after a while. I've been home for like over 3 weeks now. I took it upon myself to say, you know what, I'm working from home this week before my work even mandated me to work from home. And yeah, I can understand people going stir crazy, people being desperate for entertainment. But at the end of the day, the health and safety of everybody comes first. And Vince McMahon, I don't get why he's running these shows, because you got the network. The network's not doing that great anyway. From what I understand, they haven't sold the WrestleMania rights to ESPN Plus or any of these other services. So why are you running it? For a few bucks, some idiots that don't have good internet will be for a few bucks on idiots that don't have good internet, buying pay-per-view somewhere. Like, I don't know what. Like, why? Why not postpone it? And I get it. Like, we don't know when things are going to get back to normal. We don't know when we're going to get to have live shows. We don't know when we're going to have live events. I get it. But there's just too many health risks. WrestleMania doesn't feel like WrestleMania. And he could just do the right thing and just pay the dudes and girls anyway. Why not? I just don't get it. And here's the other thing. Vince McMahon, in his infinite wisdom, is one of the people most at risk, along with a number of immunocompromised people. See, I got that word right finally after a third time. Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, who I respect the hell out of him for bowing out. And you don't know. I mean, look, we don't know the pre-existing conditions of all these wrestlers on the card. We don't know. And it's not, quite frankly, it's not really our business. Okay? A guy like Dana Brooke, maybe she's just sick. Maybe she does have an underlying condition. Maybe, somebody else backstage has an underlying condition. We don't know. And you know what? There might be people that have pre-existing conditions that don't even know about it. But I think what we've seen with the new data that's come out over the last few weeks is that it doesn't matter whether you're a kid. It doesn't matter whether you're a damn baby, whether you're an elderly person, whether you're a relatively healthy person between the age of 20 and 40. You can get this thing, and it can freaking kill you. And if it doesn't kill you, it can damage you. And yes, there are people that have, thank God, recovered, and the recovery rate looks all right, but it's a combination of just a perfect storm of an overloaded healthcare system, a lack of protective equipment for healthcare workers. It's just a perfect storm for chaos. Again, unfortunately, it's going on here in New York, and I just don't know, man. I just don't think this is the right move. And look, what's done is done. I hope and pray that nobody tests positive in WWE, nobody tests positive in AEW, and nobody tests positive in UFC. But look, you could do the temperature check all you want. The temperature check's fine, but as we've seen with the celebrities that are privileged enough to get some of these tests that regular people can't, we've seen that whether you have symptoms or not, you could be positive. Even Rand Paul tested positive. Kevin Durant, no symptoms, tested positive. Donovan Mitchell, tested positive, no symptoms. So it's just it's a scary deal, and I just want to commend Roman Reigns for having the guts to, having the responsibility, not just as a locker room leader, as a top star, but as a father, to say, you know what? One, I don't want to compromise myself. Two, I don't want to compromise my colleagues. And three, I don't want to compromise my wife and daughter at home. I can totally respect that. I'm glad WWE, at least on the surface, seems to respect that. And I hope going forward they continue to push him as a top star when this is all said and done, because that's a real leader right there. That's a guy who's stepping up to the plate. That's a guy who is socially conscious, and that's what you would want from a top guy. So while it's a shame that he's not going to get his WrestleMania moment, let's keep it real, y'all. Let's just keep it real right now. This ain't a WrestleMania. This is a WrestleMania in name only, in logo only. That's it. That is it. WrestleMania was not meant to run an empty arena, let alone a glorified NFL training camp. It's just not. It's just not. But because we still live in this archaic pro wrestling world where the show must go on, even in the middle of a damn pandemic, we're going to get something called WrestleMania. Or as I like to call it this year, WrestleLamia. And here's the other thing. UFC, as gross and disgusting as it is, they still want to try to run shows in a pandemic when they're presumably not testing people for COVID-19. Here's the thing. UFC's parent company is in dire straits when it comes to debt and laying off people. To the best of my knowledge, WWE is not in financial straits. And while this does hurt them, they still have a ton of cash reserves. Vince McMahon just unloaded a lot more freaking stock. No, that's not shady, is it? And last time I checked, he still has a guaranteed TV contracts totaling over $2.5 billion with a B. But you know what? I'm not surprised. I shouldn't be surprised because it's Vince McMahon. He ain't about morals. He's about money. And I wouldn't be surprised if people like the Revival, guys like Mike Bennett and other people that have tried to get out of WWE, request their releases, waiting for their contracts to expire. I wouldn't be surprised if Vince McMahon takes this time, despite the fact that there's a pandemic, to tack on more time onto their contracts to keep hold of them. But then again, nothing should surprise me. Let's go to the comments real quick. JJ Richardson can't believe it. Yeah, it's crazy. Matthew Allen. So they jobbed the Fiend out for nothing. Dude, there are bigger problems than the Fiend's crappy gimmick and losing to Bill Goldberg. And I've been on record saying I really didn't mind him losing to Goldberg because at the end of the day, they killed the Fiend back in October, September, whatever it was, during Hell in a Cell. Mr. Racer 1029 says, just canceled already. Vince McMahon is the most greedy man I've ever seen. Well, I'd like to introduce you to Dana White. Goon.1, laughing my ass off. I think Triple H will take his spot. Oh, my God. Can you imagine Triple H and Goldberg in 2020 in an empty WWE Performance Center? What the hell, bro? The Walking Dead season finale is delayed. Is it? I haven't actually caught up in a long time. I heard the last episode was really good, though. Smith. XFL is over for the year, and WrestleMania's got to suck. Not a great year for Vince McMahon, although I will give him props. For all his faults, he did hire the right people to run the XFL, including Oliver Luck, and I really enjoyed it before it had a fold for the season. It's coming back next year, knock on wood. JJ says it's all about the green. Yep. Mr. Loki says, well, giving Goldberg the belt was a waste. Not to his bank account. I'm glad Roman and Daniel put their house before profit. Yeah. Smith, real life is going to be the Walking Dead if the virus mutates. Yeah, it's some scary stuff, man. And it's unfortunate when you see some of these companies that don't take this seriously or not seriously enough. I think the government is way worse, quite honestly. I don't give a damn what your politics are. I think they could be doing a better job. And just a lot of people are suffering right now, economically, physically, mentally, all of the above. And my heart goes out to everybody. We're all going through it, but for the people that are, dealing with this now, for the healthcare workers on the front lines, for the people that are essential workers, for the people that are mentally distraught, that have to be at home. I mean, yeah, I feel for all y'all, man. It's some scary stuff. Ken Taylor, Brody Lee is Vince's alter ego. Yeah, Brody Lee, a.k.a. Luke Harper, actually made fun of Vince McMahon on AEW, eating a steak, wearing a Vince McMahon-style suit. Kind of wacky, but I enjoyed it, although I didn't like Matt Hardy teleporting all over the place. A WrestleMania, Tommy Chuchip says, a WrestleMania with no fans is like watching the Super Bowl with no fans or entertainers. Yep, but I will still watch it, yeah. Look, we cover wrestling here. I'm sure I'll still watch it. It's going to be surreal. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I don't know if I could sit through 8 hours of it, but I'll probably watch at least some of it and recap it for everybody. Kenny Jones says Kevin Owens. I guess they can move Kevin Owens to SmackDown. Not that brands matter at this point. Export says, who are you going to have replace him? That's a great question. You know what? Honestly, I'm not even trying to be facetious here. I really don't care because it doesn't matter. But if I you know what? That's a really good question. I don't know. I guess if you want to get Bray Wyatt's heat back, you could divert from Bray Wyatt and John. You know what? You could do Bray Wyatt versus John Cena versus Goldberg in a triple threat match for the title. You could have Bray Wyatt beat John Cena, regain the title if you want to protect Bray Wyatt. And then down the road, you could do John Cena versus The Fiend, and then The Fiend versus Roman Reigns. I think that probably makes the most sense. I mean, I think so. I don't really see no offense to John Cena, but given his age and inactivity, I just don't see him and The Fiend having a match. Look, their 2014 match wasn't that great either. So I don't see this match in 2020 in front of no fans being any better. In fact, the only matches I could see being really good, I mean, I think everybody will work hard. But as far as the matches that could possibly work even with no fans, probably Randy Orton and Edge. Probably Brock and Drew McIntyre, because those are going to be some pretty hard-hitting matches, and I would imagine McIntyre and Lesnar is going to be back and forth. Rollins and Owens probably too. Everything else, that's going to be a struggle. Punk versus Goldberg. WWE doesn't seem to be happy with Punk right now. My dad's from Jamaica, and Jamaica's locked down. Why can't Vince stop WrestleMania or move it to another location? Well, good luck finding a location other than maybe Russia right now or Saudi Arabia. And even then, just to tell you about Saudi Arabia, I mean, I have a friend that's there now for work. She lives in Dubai. She hasn't been able to go back to Dubai in weeks because of lockdown. Now, granted, they're treating her fine. You know, they're taking precautions. In fact, it seems like they're taking more precautions than they are here, which is crazy. But, yeah, they're locked down too. So I don't think that'll be the case. But, folks, I'm going to get on out of here. I hope you enjoyed this update. Obviously, it's an update on an unfortunate situation, but I want to keep you guys informed. I want to keep you guys entertained. I want to keep you distracted, but at times we do got to cover the reality of the situation. Keep in mind, over the next week, I'm going to have some awesome content for y'all. A WWE Network review. I'm going to be having the next WWE 2K DLC review, plus an interview with The Godfather will be going up, and I will be having my in-depth MLB The Show 20 game review over the weekend. So stay tuned for all of that. And if you enjoyed this update, like, share, take care. Please subscribe and enable notifications. I guarantee you won't regret it. Until next time, everybody, as always, enjoy the matches, and please, y'all, stay safe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Much appreciated.